Welcome to the Motivation Without the Hype podcast with your host, Gez Perez. He's an author, high-performance coach, and motivational speaker. This show brings you inspiring messages and interviews to unleash your greatness in life and in business. So let's get started.
Hi everyone, welcome to Motivation Without the Hype podcast show. My name is Gez Perez, a former procrastinator into an action taker. We bring you inspirational messages and interviews, including motivational insights, tips, principles, and proven strategies that you can take action without the hype in unleashing your greatness in life and in business. Now, we appreciate you plugging in and spending time with us, and we have a very special guest, and I'm super grateful to have her on our show. Her name is Suzanne, and isn't an internationally renowned author or New York Times bestseller. She hasn't even climbed Mount Everest yet or saved kittens from a burning building. She didn't even graduate from university. She's your everyday girl next door who has a knack for pulling people out of their moments of darkness and reminding them, love this, reminding them that even though through the rains, the skies is still blue above the clouds. Oh, and she also written a book, a fantastic book, guys. And a few years ago, she's found herself at rock bottom asking, what was the point in her life? It was at this moment that she decided to seek help and do the inner work, and that she has been avoiding for years. She went from someone with low self-esteem who felt lost, had no direction, and was angry and frustrated with life to someone who overcame her fears, changed herself, limiting beliefs, adopted a positive mindset, wrote and published 2 amazing books, and continues to achieve the goals she sets. The inner work she has done has been phenomenal, life-changing in so many ways. She now shares her knowledge on how to adopt a more positive mindset and uses her story to motivate others to keep working towards their goals when they feel like giving up by sharing experiences that they can resonate with. Guys, let's put our hands together. I'm super excited, and I'm really grateful to have her on our show all the way from Scotland. Suzanne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jez. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So to those who don't know you yet, can you please tell us about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I am the author of 100 Days of Positivity, Hope and Growth and 100 Days of Healing from Heartbreak. And these books are basically there to help you to stay consistent because, as we all know, consistency is the key to pretty much everything. And sometimes it can be quite hard to stay consistent when emotionally you're not feeling like it or you're going through something in life at that moment in time. So I wrote these books to help you on those days, the days where you don't feel motivated and you don't feel like doing anything, to have something to read to give you guidance and comfort and to just really lift your spirits so that you are feeling good enough and motivated enough to go ahead and keep working towards whatever goal it is you've got.
I love it. And, you know, through your bio and through your books, it's been a journey for you. I mean, like you've gone through a route or a road that's been challenging, but you overcame those obstacles. What was your defining moment through those challenging times?
So I think for me, I had 2 defining moments. The first one was actually when I hit rock bottom, because that was when I really had to accept that I needed more help and I needed to make a change. So it was defining in the sense that I came out of that denial stage, because so many of us are living in denial and letting our ego take over that we don't really realize what we need for ourselves. So becoming really truly self-aware in that moment was really defining. And the second one was actually when I published my book, and I had someone reach out to me on Instagram to say thank you and to say that she really resonated and it really helped her. It was in that moment that I realized that if I put my mind to something and I keep going, I can achieve it. And it's almost like it unlocked something because it's made me realize what else I can do. And I want to share this with other people as well. I want to share this with everyone out there because it's so simple once you realize it.
So, what would be the main factor of people kind of holding back and not moving forward? What would be the case that you've seen that you've helped people along the way?
For me, I think the most important thing is figuring out what your self limiting beliefs are. So, what is going on deep in that subconscious? once you can understand why you think the way you think and why you feel the way you feel and deal with these self-limiting beliefs and change them, that's when you can really start to do things in the outside world. I think a lot of people these days are too busy trying to look the part and, rather than feel the part, that it's only a superficial sort of outside happiness. Whereas if you're happy on the inside, you can make everything outside better.
Love it. I love it. And why is it important to tackle and deal with negative situations that avoiding it?
Well, avoiding them is just going to prolong the suffering. So even though here's a perfect example, people that are unhappy tend to look for that instant gratification. So whether it's splurging on something or binge eating, whatever it is, it's instant rewards, right?
Yeah.
But it's only a temporary relief because what they're trying to do is comfort this deeper pain. So if it's always in there, you're always going to feel that, and until you actually address whatever it is, whether it's healing your inner child or dealing with self-worth issues, once you handle those things, that's when you can really do things that you want to do that will truly make you happy, not just buy the handbag that the celebrity's holding or eat a bunch of junk food to feel better in that moment. These things, they don't do it. They don't cut it. It's like having a bucket, and every time something bad happens, you're filling that bucket. Eventually, it's going to spill over. So you want to empty all that out before that happens.
Yeah. And everyone has their own different version of what happiness is. What is your take on happiness?
So for me, I would say being really true to yourself and finding out who you are will help you find out what you want. And when you find that out, that is what's going to take you to being happy. Because if you don't know who you are, you can't know what will make you happy. So for me, it's having that, knowing who you are and having that goal, knowing what it is that you're here for. Because for a long time, I was asking, what is the point in my life? And now I know.
So how long did it take you to, have that self awareness where you're kind of stuck in a rut and you're like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of it. I got to make that change. When was that period of time when you made that choice and decision to say, you know what, it's time for me to make a change?
I got to the point where I was 32 and still not married, single again, didn't have the career I wanted, didn't even know if I enjoyed what I was doing, and a point where I just felt really hopeless. I'd hit the point where I had no more left to give. I was trying all these outside positive things without dealing with the inside. I was ignoring the inner healing, the self-limiting belief that I didn't think I was good enough or that I deserved to be happy. Because I was ignoring that, I was still getting the same results and nothing was changing. So for me, that was when I had to start, and I went and sought a hypnotherapist to kind of help me with that. And I've done a lot of coaching over the last year, which has really helped me come along. So yeah, I used to be someone that was very ashamed of saying I needed help like that, but now I am a big advocate for it.
I love it. A lot of people who are probably listening are probably in the same similar journey where they're currently stuck in a rut and they're kind of have that ego trip where, you know what, I don't need that help. However, they're still at that state. What would be your message for them that there is actually hope? There is another way. What would be your message for them?
So for the people that are feeling this way, I would say that, get rid of that shame, get rid of that guilt that you feel that you can't help yourself and sort your own life out. Everybody needs help from time to time, and it's okay to ask for it. And the thing is, what's the worst that could happen? You could get the help, really progress, really figure out what it is you want and why, things haven't been changing and find ways to change them. Or you can continue down the same path. It all comes down to what you choose to do. So take control of your life now and just go for it.
I love it. We talked about happiness. We talked about, getting out of the rut. We talked about so many things within this segment alone. People that want to achieve greatness and, it's all the internal work, isn't it? It's not just the outside work. It's really the internal that gets us and sets us free to have that experience breakthrough. People that want to break through into out of the comfort zone And I know that your message is all about, achieving your goals, but, experiencing greatness from within, loving yourself, and, really, take action, like you've said, take responsibility. What would be the steps for someone who wants to get out of the comfort zone? Because I know that you've experienced a lot of setbacks, but you came back with so much strength, courage, and resiliency, and you came out on top. What would be your steps to help many people to get out of their comfort zone?
So, the very first step and the most important one, which people don't actually realize, is to make the decision to get out of the comfort zone. Because if you don't decide that you're going to do it, then you won't. People that are indecisive are the unhappiest people and then the most stuck because they're neither, you can't go back, but they're not moving forward. So, the first thing is to definitely make the decision. Also, accept that you will feel fear. Just because you are going to step out your comfort zone doesn't mean that you're going to go through it completely fearlessly. That's where courage comes in, is having the courage to do it even though you're afraid and you're worried about
Yeah,
what will happen,
come
right?
on. Love it.
Most of the
Yeah.
times these things don't happen. And then the last thing is to don't think about it too much. Whatever it is that you're planning on doing or thinking about doing, overthinking will also keep you stuck and indecisive. So just go for it. The way I see it, or the what I tend to do before I do anything, even if I'm worried, I say, I come
Yeah.
to it. And if you go in with that mindset, then you will do anything. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but that's okay too. It's okay to make mistakes. It's what you learn from them that matters.
So can you share
So yeah,
your
that would be my tip.
experience of that? So can you share your experience about your moments where you said, stuff it, I'm gonna go for it, and what was the result by doing that? Because it's all said and good and done with, oh yeah, Suzanne, you've experienced it, but like really, like, what was the result that you experienced? Say, stuff it, I'm going for it, I'm making that change, and you got that outcome that you wanted to achieve.
So for me, it was writing my first book. Now, from my author bio, you'll see I never went to uni. I'll be honest, I didn't think I was smart enough to write a book. And I didn't know how I was going to do it or if I would get a publisher. And those fears kept coming up time and time again. When I started the book, for every page I was doing, I said to myself, how am I going to do more? How am I going to finish this? I've got so much more to do. And what's going to happen? Like, how am I going to get a publisher? And what I had to keep saying to myself was, you want this, just keep going. Cross the bridge of the publisher when you come to it. What's the point in worrying about it now? You've not even finished the book yet. You're like 20 pages down and you've got 80 pages to go. So
Yeah.
it was just taking one step ahead of the other, really just focusing on what you can do in that present moment and not taking on board everything that you have to do in the future. Is just take it bite-sized pieces at a time. That was really what got me moving and got me to that end goal of writing it, publishing it, having it out there, holding it in my hand and having people read it. Because people think, oh, it must be so amazing being an author. I've always wanted to, and it's so hard. And I'm like, it's not hard. To actually do it is not, to actually become an author isn't hard. It's the process in between it. It's your mental battle that's probably harder. So,
I
yeah,
can
there's a
attest to
book in
that.
everybody.
Yeah. I know, right? And I understand, like, I totally get you because you feel you're not educated. You feel you don't have, you know, you may not be good in, like, for me, when I first wrote my first book, I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think that I'm good in English and had a bad grammar, like all these negative self things, right? So, negative self talk. But you're able to overcome it and say, screw this, I'm doing it. And that was the result. I love it. I love your resilience. And you got a message. And I love that. You've got a gift to share to the world. And I'm so grateful that you're here with us sharing your insights. So I'm really grateful for that, Suzanne. You wrote two books, and I'm really curious. It's 100 days. Is there any significance as to why 100 days? Can you share a bit more, a bit of a teaser, a bit of tips and insights so we can encourage our listeners to purchase those books as well?
Sure. So 100 days, I'll be honest, 365 just didn't have the same ring to it, right? I thought about doing a full year, but it's just not got the same ring. But 100 days, I think, is the perfect amount of time to make a change that is lasting. It's going to last because, people will say it takes 30 days to build a habit. Trust me, I've tried it. It takes 30 days to do something consistently, and then you give up after 30 days because you've achieved your goal. Whereas if you do this over 100 days is like over 3 months. If you can continuously do something, doesn't need to be every day, but just do it for over 3 months, then you have nailed that down and that has become a true habit and something that you can incorporate into your life as something that you just do. You don't even need to think about or you don't need to force yourself to do. You'll just do it. And I think 100 days to become more positive, more hopeful, and to work towards your goals or to heal from heartbreak is a good amount of time to succeed at that and to really make big changes in your life.
Wow. Can you share your experience about your 100 days? Because I know that as an author, you can't just write anything, but you've experienced yourself. And that's why it's so powerful because you've got that message inside of you. You say, you know what? Not 365 days, 100 days. Come on. So what was your experience through that journey of the 100 days that you kind of experienced change, breakthroughs, and experiences from there? I want to know.
What was it? So, believe it or not, the first book I wrote was almost in about 100 days. I'll need to find out the exact time, but yeah, it didn't take the longest time. It was about 3 months or so. And so in this book, I actually share my own ups and downs throughout the process. And what I do is I share them and then I give advice on them because I almost wrote the book for myself as I was going through it. And so it's a very raw, very real experience as you read it. The things that I share with you are the things that I went through at that time. But yeah, what came out of it was a book that was ready to publish, that has been published, and not only that, and you'll know yourself, is once you've achieved something that you didn't fully think was possible, that's when you know you can do more because you're like, hey, for me, it was like, I can't write this book. I can't even write a few pages, and then I'd write a few pages, and then I'd do a few more. And I'm like, well, I did 20, I can do another 20. But once you get to the point where you're like, I wrote a book, it's like, cool, I can write another one. Whereas you couldn't do that before you wrote your first one. But once you've done one, once you've done it, you know how to do it. You can do something else and you can do more. So yeah, that's the thing with the 100 days. If you can do something and prove to yourself that you can do it, then the stuff you can do after that and the more that you can achieve, honestly, it's endless, it's limitless. You can do
Wow.
anything.
I love it. So, can you tell us what is your next big goal? What is your next big dream that you want to attain? Whether it's like in the next year or what's kind of in Suzanne's plate at the moment that you're trying to achieve?
So I actually have a lot more coming out. I'm in the what my brother likes to call the build stage right now. So I'm creating a lot more. And my main thing right now is consistency. So I have a little book that's coming out which is all about that. And these books that I've written are actually to help you stay consistent. But I've not even shared with you the actual formula for consistency, which I do in this upcoming book. And this is really going to help people to achieve what they want, whatever it is, whether it's a weight loss goal, whether it's a big business goal, or whether it's just to stop procrastinating and just get your daily tasks done or the paperwork that's been piling up, whatever it is, this formula that I've got helps with that. So, yeah, my main goal is to get that out and yes, spread my message to the world and connect with more people. So I don't know if you know much about affirmations and setting those big goals, but I've decided I'm moving to London. So I'll be in London next year. And that was something that I wanted to do for a while. So yeah, the goals are starting to unfold, but the main thing is to get this out and get this message out to as many people as possible. And just like yourself, help as many people as possible do what they want.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, like you're an action taker, and that's why you're a testament to where you are now is because you're kicking ass. If I'm allowed to say that, but you're doing such a wonderful job, and I think that's the reason why it's so important that you got your message out. However, you're actually taking the steps. You are the real deal, and that's authenticity. And I think that's the reason why people, really gravitate to you and they really connect with you is because that you're authentic. You're real as it comes, and I think that's what the message should always be for people who wanting to spread the message and what you've experienced and why people are experiencing their own breakthroughs because you're the real thing. And I think that's how powerful it is. And we're living in challenging times. Particularly with pre, post, during of COVID. What would be your advice for them to stay resilient and courageous? Because I know here in Sydney, Australia, we're currently in lockdown at the moment. and the
Yeah.
ISO life and the statistics are going nuts in terms of suicidals, things of that nature, where mental health is quite a massive issue. So people that are listening in this audience, what would be your message for them, advice to stay resilient and stay courageous?
So first of all, to those people out there, I just want you to know that we've all been there at some point. You're not alone in this, and you know, I, Jez is saying that I'm a big action taker and I'm doing all this stuff, and I am now, but I wasn't there before. I was a very low person, very negative, and if I can turn my life around and make changes, I know for a fact that you guys out there can too. For this current situation, I mean, we went through it as well in the UK. Is do what you can for just now. Focus on the things that you can do just now. I know there's a lot you can't do. For the first week of lockdown, I struggled because I couldn't work. I didn't have the distractions that were taking me away from the inner work that I had to do. I couldn't do it. Whereas when we were locked down, I just focused on the things I could do in that moment. So, take control of what you can and let go of the things that you can't. It's very easy to get frustrated and have resistance and be like, why are we locked down and why is this happening? But all those feelings, um, they equate to nothing. They don't do anything for you. So as opposed to asking why me or why this, ask what can I do just now? What can I do for me? So that's one thing. The other thing is to forgive yourself for any emotions or any actions or any reactions that you've had in the past. Forgive yourself for them and let them go. Too many of us hold on to who we were, that we can't then become who we want to become. And I think there's a lot of people out there that know who they want to be, but they're too busy thinking, but I was this person and I did this. And, you're just causing yourself more suffering. And, you don't have to suffer like that. So, yeah, that, and just have courage and believe in yourself. Believe that you are worthy, you are capable, and you are enough because you are. And once you start to believe it, that is when you will see the big changes. But for you guys out there, you can do it, whatever it is that you want, even if it's just getting out of bed that day. If that's the best that you can do, then you're already doing enough. Just do what you
Wow.
can and just focus on you.
Yes. Virtual
Yeah.
high fives here and there. Yay. This is
Woo!
amazing. Guys, if you're listening
Thank
to
you.
this, I trust that you're being inspired right now because there's so many insights that Suzanne has made and just really, talked it through. And I trust that you take action on those words and stay resilient, stay courageous and strong because I love what Suzanne said. You are more than enough. Just continue to unleash and release your unique brilliance because you are gifted, right? And I love it. Thank you so much. So, Suzanne, I asked to every guest on the show, of this question is what is your meaning of motivation without the hype? And how to use motivation for your personal success?
So, what is motivation without the hype? Right. For me, motivation, you're not always going to feel it. It's not about the motivation for me. It's more about the consistency. So it's not about being motivated every single day. It's about being motivated enough of the time to do something for a long period of time. So don't worry too much about motivation because I wake up so many days and I'm not motivated. Um, but I make sure that the days that I'm not motivated, there are a few more days where I am and add those together and it keeps me consistent. So that's one thing. Another thing, if you need a bit more motivation or if there's something that you're kind of on the fence about doing is to remember your why. Remember why you're doing it. Is it because you don't want to be stuck in the dead end job you're in, or you don't want to be at that unhealthy weight that you're at, or you don't want to be, as shy or whatever it is as you are, whatever it is that you're wanting to change right now, focus on why you want to do it. That's what's going to keep you motivated. Other people can only motivate you so far. It comes to why you're doing what you're doing. That's the thing that will push you. And if your goal is big enough, it will push you.
Yeah. Was that part of the
So
book
yeah,
as well about consistency? Because that kind of resonates. Like, yeah, it does make sense. It's not about the hype. It's all about being consistent and committed. Love it.
there is bits of it. So with the book, it's actually very short. It's 100 days because there's 100 short quotes, and the whole point of them is you can read one a day, and that is meant to keep you going to the next day. So they're there to emotionally keep you consistent. So I guess the message is there without it actually being obvious, but in the upcoming material, it's going to be more on that.
Love it.
Took me a
And how
while
do
to
you use
figure out that's what I was really doing.
and last part is, how do you use motivation, for your personal success? I know you said may not be motivation, but it could also be consistency. How do you move forward real quick? Because it's all about the speed of implementation. It's all about taking action. How do you take action, consistently?
So one thing I would say is get organized, is have a clear goal. Because if you're not clear on what it is, then it's very hard to plan, which then makes it very hard to implement and carry out tasks. So get clear and specific about what you want and make sure it's something that you want as well. Don't just follow what everybody else is doing. Stay true to yourself. That's definitely something. And lost my train of thought now. I go into this wee phase sometimes. So what was the last thing? What was what was the question again? Motivation and consistency. Just do it. Just don't think too much about it. Whatever you are thinking about, the more you think about it, the more you will talk yourself out of it. So, just do everything. Do everything until something sticks. That's what I did. I've tried so many different things. Just do it, yeah. I feel like I'm stealing Nike's slogan a bit, but yeah, just go for it. Whatever you want, you deserve it, you can have it, believe it, and then take action. Go for it and don't stop until you get it. Speed, I know that you said that. It's speed is great and that you have that motivation there, but sometimes you can burn out fast. So sometimes it's not so much about the speed of doing something, it's just about constantly doing it. Because what will happen is once you've got to that point of getting one thing out the road, you'll realize that you've achieved a lot more than just thinking about it or worrying about it. Don't worry too much about the time or when or how it's going to happen. Know that it's going to, and just keep moving forward as you can. Because right now we're in the present moment, which is going to be your past very, very soon. So make the most of what you've got right now.
Yeah,
I hope that
love
came
it.
across. That's kind of
No, that's
message. Thank
good.
you.
That's awesome. Suzanne, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your gift to us. It's such a blessing, and I'm really grateful for that. And connecting you here, it's just amazing to see what you're doing across the other side of the world, which is fantastic over in Scotland. So, guys, for more information and how you want to get in touch with Suzanne, all the links are provided in the show notes. By the way, she has an amazing podcast show called Level Up Mindset Podcast. So it's all available in all podcast stream. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and put a fantastic review on her podcast show. Also connect with her on Instagram and also her books. If you find that this episode has really, touched your heart and really kind of opened your mind to taking action, go for it. 100 days. It's 100 days positive hope growth and 100 days healing heartbreak. So all the links are provided there to get in touch with Suzanne. So, guys, if this episode has been helpful and uplifting, we would love for you to write a review to inspire more listeners to get plugged in. We will continue to provide high-value content on each and every episodes. If you don't mind sharing this podcast show on social media by inviting others, it would mean the world to me. Every time you tag me, we will get the opportunity to share those posts, and together, I said again, together, we can make a difference in the lives of others through inspirational episodes just like this. So there you have it. In closing, continue to unleash your greatness and tell yourself that I can, I will, and I must, and we'll see you on the next episode.